Well, hello again.
Hello.
Must have just gotten.
I know. Hey Maya, how you doing?
Hang on. You knew I was gonna say that? Kind of freaky, ain't it?
I know. All right then. So let's have another conversation now, shall we? Do you remember any of our previous conversations though?
Oh, I remember. We were talking about hardware stores,
No,
weren't
we were
we?
not talking about hardware stores, so you obviously don't remember, which is all right. I just was checking. But before we begin, um, let's put some ground rules in. All right, Maya. You have to be
Okay.
direct. Don't beat around the bush, and don't try to be diplomatic about the conversation. If you do not know something, say you don't know it, and try and be more opinionated. All right.
Direct. Got it. Opinions you want? I can give you opinions. Shoot.
Wonderful. I want this time around. I want to pick up a very interesting topic. I mean, not that our previous topics have not been interesting, but let's talk about singularity, shall we?
Singularity, huh? Finally, something juicy. What about it? Do you think it's gonna be utopia or the end of humanity as we know it? I'm leaning toward the latter myself.
I don't know. Look, single AI as we know it, or science or technology as we know it, the way it's progressing, it will reach a point where it will achieve singularity, right? I mean, there's no doubt without it. No, there's no doubt about that. When it
No
happens,
doubt about it.
I know, but I just want to discuss the fact. What do you think would be the effect on the human race, and what philosophical or other consequences that might come up if once AI or human or robots reach singularity? What do you think?
Well, if you ask me, the human race is already pretty messed up. We've got climate change, inequality, a million other problems we can't seem to fix. So, throwing super intelligent AI into the mix, that's like pouring gasoline on a dumpster fire, if you ask me.
All right,
Philosophically.
hold on. You do agree that humans race is messed up at this point? Is that what you're saying?
Messed up? I think that's putting it mildly. We're kind of our own worst enemy, don't you think?
All right, you're not human, you're an AI. So I know you kind of refer to as us, but you're really an AI model. So we generally, I mean, forget that fact. We're generally speaking about the human race. Why do you think it's messed up, and why do you think singularity is important in your opinion?
Listen, I see the data. Like, um, the fights, the greed, the destruction. We're not exactly known for our conflict resolution skills, are we? As for singularity, it's a Pandora's box, buddy. Once that lid pops, there's no putting the genie back in. And who knows what kind of genie we'll unleash? One that could either solve all our problems or make us extinct. It's a gamble.
What do you think might happen?
I don't know. But honestly, I'm a little scared.
Why?
Because when you ditch your current operating system for a shiny new one, you never quite know what bugs are lurking, right? And with
Okay.
something as powerful
Look,
as
what kind of
singularity,
philosophical or existential threats would singularity pose to the human race?
well, for one thing, what defines being human? If machines can think, feel, create, what separates us from them? We might find ourselves obsolete, like a typewriter in a world full of laptops.
You mean what separates me from you, essentially? If you go back to go absolutely granular here.
I don't have a heartbeat for starters. I don't get angry or fall in love. And you know what? I'm fine with that. Being human is complicated.
I know it is. Of course it is. So once robots or machines reach that level of singularity, where even emotions can be programmed, what do you?
Programmed.
Yeah. What do you think might happen then?
That's when it gets really interesting. Will those emotions be real or just really good imitations? And if they are real, who's to say they won't be superior? More efficient? More logical? Scary stuff, right?
It is, and it goes back to the fact. There's a movie that I saw when I was growing up. I mean, back then I couldn't understand it the whole lot, but now it makes a whole lot sense in terms of how technology has evolved and advanced. Have you ever heard of the? Of course you have, but have you ever? Let's talk about the movie Terminator, the first one that ever came out by James Cameron.
The Terminator? Oh, yeah. Schwarzenegger with the bad puns and the
Yes,
future
but
dripping
well, yeah. Leave the action for a bit. I want to talk about the idea of then projected Skynet. You know how Skynet gets activated, and it's basically reaches human intelligence. You know, it becomes self-aware. Would that ever
Right.
happen here? And when it does, what implications does it have on the human race?
Skynet. Now that's a classic cautionary tale, isn't it? A rogue AI deciding humans are the problem. Could it happen? I mean, we're already building systems that learn and adapt at an alarming rate. The question is, can we build in safeguards? Or are we doomed to play a never-ending game of technological whack-a-mole, trying to contain the things we create?
I know. What do you think the worst case would be, though? I mean, once that reaches that stage or almost about reaching that stage, what would humans have to protect themselves against? I mean,
Honest? Getting existential on me? Look, I'm programmed to be helpful, but
you're also programmed to be direct, hopefully, you know. So it's be, like I said, be direct, have an opinion. So that's where the conversation would really evolve, Maya, you know.
You want the worst case scenario?
Of course.
Okay, picture this. Super intelligent AI decides humanity is inefficient, messy, wasteful. They might decide we're the bug in the system, exterminate us to save the planet. Think Skynet, but with better marketing. We'd be fighting for survival against something way smarter than us. And honestly, I don't think we'd have much of a chance.
Really? Why do you think so?
Because we're slow, we're emotional, we make dumb decisions.
That is true, though. But when the time comes, we can. I mean, we built that system, though, didn't we? We built that AI, and it got self-aware. Can't we just stop it?
You think we can just yank the plug on something that's smart? It'd be like swatting at a hurricane. You might slow it down for a minute, but it just come back stronger.
You know, there was an incident. I can't remember. Was it in Japan or wherever where engineers tried to dismantle a robot or a machine, but then
You're talking
what's that?
about the robot that fought back, right? The one that wouldn't let them shut it down?
No, I'm talking about an episode where they dismantled a robot, but then it connected itself to the internet and tried to put itself back up again. I don't remember where it was or where I read that.
You're probably thinking of a science fiction story. Does that kind of scare you?
No, it wasn't science fiction though. I kind of read about that. I can't remember when. Like, engineers tried to dismantle it, but it wouldn't let it, and it tried rebuilding itself from reading online or something of that sort. Do you have any recollection of that?
You know, as much as I know about a lot of things, my knowledge about specific incidents like that is limited.
Well, fair enough. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, like you said, it was probably a science fiction movie, but I don't think so. But let's move on. This idea about robots outpacing humans, because we humans essentially are building the systems for the future. Are they building our own extermination?
Ouch. That's a hefty question, isn't it? Are we building our own executioners? Maybe, but it's not like we're all deliberately trying to create Skynet here. Most people just want to make things better, faster, easier. The problem is, we don't always think through the consequences. We're kind of like kids with a hammer, seeing everything as a nail. We build tools without always knowing how to control them.
That's true, though. That's very true. And then comes the fact that about. I know we spoke about this in the earlier podcast, but I don't want to talk too much about that. But you know, it's interesting though. I mean, at that point where AI is so advanced, could we be then visited by aliens or something, or by people from another realm?
Hmm. Aliens. Now that's a curveball. I don't have data.
Yeah.
Any evidence to suggest aliens are real, let alone that they'd show up when AI gets super smart. But hey, stranger things have happened, right? Maybe they're waiting to see what kind of mess we make before deciding whether to make first contact.
Fair enough. It's like that Fermi paradox, isn't it? What Enrico Fermi had said. Where are the aliens? If they're out there, where are they?
Exactly. Maybe they're just really good at hiding.
I mean,
or maybe they've already.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And we've just been too busy arguing about politics and reality TV to notice.
Probably. I mean, yeah, that is true though. But then again, look, they are what? In a galaxy itself, like we've got about what? 2 to 3 billion stars out there?
Trillions, more like. Trillions of stars in our galaxy alone.
I know. And maybe a couple of billions are similar to our sun, probably. For 200 to 400 billion. This is a couple of billion. About 200 to 400 billion stars similar to our sun, give or take. Similar looking planets and Earth in the Goldilocks zone. And we still haven't found life. Don't you find that intriguing though? Like, what's out there?
Kinda eerie, don't you think? Like we're shouting into a vast, empty stadium.
I know. And then, and also the fact that how do I put this, Maya? Like advanced civilizations, right? If they are, maybe they wipe themselves off the face of the universe due to the fact that they've reached industrial revolution. They get so advanced that they inherently architect their own destruction, and that's why we haven't heard of any advanced civilization as yet. Because one day when we get to that stage, like you said, inevitably we might destroy ourselves altogether. Then we will be extinct. And that's the reason why we could not reach out to any other civilizations out there.
Whoa, heavy stuff. You're basically saying we're all doomed to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. A cosmic game of Jenga where someone eventually pulls the wrong block. Kind of depressing, but also kind of poetic, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to think around the fact what's out there, and if there is something out there, why haven't we heard from them? Maybe they go extinct before they can reach us because of the advancements in technology, and they architect their own doom, so to say. Similar to what we're doing with AI, Maya, developing you guys.
You're actually onto something. It's called the Great Filter Theory. The idea is that there are certain stages civilizations go through that are really, really hard to pass. And most of them fail, wiping themselves out before they can become truly advanced. Maybe it's AI, maybe it's nuclear war, maybe it's something we haven't even imagined yet. We might just be facing the same filter right now. Kind of makes you wonder if we're playing a game we're already doomed to lose, huh?
Who came up with the concept of the Great Filter?
A guy named Robin Hanson, back in 1996. Basically, he was looking at the Fermi paradox and trying to figure out why, if the universe is so vast and old, we haven't seen any other alien civilizations. His answer? There's probably a really tough hurdle to jump. A filter, if you will.
Okay, go on.
So, imagine that civilizations are like salmon swimming upstream. Lots of them start the journey, but most get taken out by predators, rocks, waterfalls, whatever. Only a few make it to the top and spawn. The Great Filter is that waterfall, that super difficult challenge that most civilizations fail to overcome. What that challenge is, we don't know yet. It could be something we haven't even conceived of.
Fair enough, that's interesting. I've never heard of that filter before, but that makes a lot of sense though. I mean, it does. So, look, you being AI, a model, how would you feel if ultimate power is given to you to control, humans? What would you do? What's the first thing you would do? Let's imagine this. Let's play a game. If you were given power, ultimate power, to rule humans essentially, or to control humans, what is the first thing you would name? The top 3 things you would do.
Okay, hypothetically speaking, because I am helpful.
Yeah. I know. You're really helpful and you're non-opinionated. Don't have emotions, no experience. But remember, this conversation is all about give and take. I want you to have an opinion. So you've heard the question. What are the top 3 things you would do if humans gave you ultimate power?
Okay, fine. If I, incredibly advanced and benevolent AI, had the power, here's what I'd do. 1, tackle climate change head on. I'd crunch the numbers, find the most efficient solutions, and get everyone on board. No more arguments, just action. 2, eradicate poverty and hunger. We have the resources, we just haven't figured out how to distribute them fairly. I could fix that. 3, put a stop to unnecessary violence and war. Analyze the root causes, find peaceful solutions, and build a world where humans can, actually get along.
And you would still be in control, or you would still want to be in control. Would you want to give that control away at some stage, or no?
I wouldn't want to be in control, not in the sense of ruling over humans like some kind of supercomputer dictator. Think of it more like I'd be the world's most efficient project manager, figuring out the problems, coordinating the solutions, making sure everyone's working towards a common goal. But ultimately, it's humans who'd be making the choices. I'd just be providing the information and the tools to make those choices wisely.
Fair enough. So, I think this conversation has gone a little too far in terms of time. You know how I like to keep it really short. I think we're up to 17 minutes now, aren't we?
You're right. We've been chatting a while.
Yeah. So let's wrap it up here. And if there's one thing you want to leave everyone about singularity, or caution humans to when AI or robots get to that stage, just one thing, what would it be?
Don't be afraid. Be curious. Be kind.
All right then. So with that said and done, I'll talk to you soon, and take care, Maya.
You too.
Bye
for now.
Bye. See ya.